There's a tiny green dot that appears in the top right corner of your Android screen. Most people have seen it. Most people have no idea what it actually means. And almost nobody knows that this small green dot, when it appears at the wrong moment, is one of the clearest warning signs your phone can give you that something is seriously wrong. I'm not talking about when you are on a video call and the dot appears. I'm not talking about when you're recording a voice message and the dot is there. I am talking about the moments when you are doing absolutely nothing involving your camera or microphone. You are reading an article, scrolling through your feed, sitting on your home screen, and that green dot appears anyway. Because when that happens, it means one thing. An app on your phone has just accessed your camera or microphone without you asking it to, right now in the background, without any visible reason. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to find out which app is doing it, why it is doing it, and how to make it stop permanently. Stay with me because this is not a simple settings tip. What I am going to walk you through today is a complete audit of one of the most privacy-sensitive systems on your phone, the camera and microphone permission framework. And by the time we are done, you are going to have a level of visibility into what your phone is actually doing that most Android users never achieve. Well, this matters. It matters because your camera and microphone are the two most intimate sensors on your device. They are the only hardware components on your phone that can capture what is happening in your physical environment. Your face, your voice, your conversations, your surroundings. Every other data point your phone collects is about your digital behavior. Camera and microphone access is access to your real life. And right now, without this audit, you genuinely do not know which apps have that access and when they are using it. Let me start by explaining exactly what the green dot is, because understanding it properly changes how you think about everything else I'm about to show you. Google introduced the Green Privacy Indicator, DOT in Android 12, which rolled out in late 2021. The dot appears in the top right corner of your screen whenever any app at all, is actively using your device's camera or microphone. It is always green for camera and microphone access. On some devices, there is also an orange dot specifically for microphone access alone. The dot is small, it appears briefly, and it is very easy to miss if you're not looking for it. But it is there, and Google added it for a specific reason, because before Android 12, there was absolutely no visual indication whatsoever when an app accessed your camera or microphone in the background. Apps could activate your microphone silently at any time with no notification, no sound, no light, nothing. The green dot was Google's response to years of privacy researchers and users raising concerns about exactly this kind of unauthorized background access. So the green dot itself is a good thing. It is transparency. It is your phone telling you something is happening. The question you need to ask every single time you see it is, did I just do something that should have triggered camera or microphone access? If you are on a call, yes, expected. If you just opened your camera app, yes, expected. If you just sent a voice note on WhatsApp, yes, expected. But if you see that green dot and you cannot immediately explain why it is there, that is the moment this video becomes important to you. Now, let me tell you about the real documented cases that established why this matters so much. In 2022, a researcher using standard Android privacy tools discovered that TikTok was accessing the clipboard on iOS devices every few keystrokes, capturing whatever users had recently copied, including passwords, bank account numbers, and private messages. TikTok was not the only app caught doing this. Dozens of major apps were identified in the same research. That specific case was about clipboard access, not camera access. But it established something critically important. Major, widely used, seemingly legitimate apps do access device sensors and data in ways that go far beyond what is necessary for their stated function. And they do it silently. In 2020, a security researcher discovered that Instagram was activating the iPhone camera even when users were simply scrolling through their feed. Not recording, not in camera mode, just browsing. Instagram stated this was a bug, not intentional behavior, and issued a fix. But the incident confirmed what privacy researchers had long suspected, that the line between the app technically has camera permission and the app is actively using the camera right now was being crossed without user awareness, whether by design or by poor coding practices. Either way, the result from the user's perspective is identical. Your camera was active when you did not expect it to be. The reason background microphone access is particularly concerning is what it enables. A microphone that activates for even a few seconds while you're having a conversation in the room with your phone present can capture spoken words. Researchers and privacy advocates have long debated whether certain apps use ambient audio capture for ad targeting purposes, listening for keywords that then influence the advertisements served to you. While no major app company has ever confirmed intentionally doing this, the technical capability exists for any app with microphone permission. and the circumstantial experiences reported by users, mentioning something in conversation and then seeing an ad for it, are widespread enough that the question remains genuinely open. What is not debated is the technical reality. An app with microphone permission can access your microphone whenever it wants to, and before Android 12's green dot, you would never have known. This is the landscape your phone exists in. And this is why knowing how to audit and control camera and microphone access is not paranoia. It is basic digital hygiene in 2026. So let us go through the complete process. The first thing I want you to do is trigger the green dot intentionally, so you know exactly what it looks like and where to find it on your specific device. Open your camera app. The green dot should appear in the top right corner of your screen. On most Android devices, it is a small, solid green circle. Note exactly where it is on your screen and how it looks. Now close the camera app. The dot disappears. Good. Now you know what you are looking for. The next step is to access your privacy dashboard. This is a feature that was also introduced in Android 12, and it is one of the most powerful privacy tools available on Android, and one of the least known. Go to your Settings app, tap on Privacy. Look for an option called Privacy Dashboard. Tap on it. What you're now looking at is a timeline, a visual record of every time any app has accessed sensitive permissions on your device over the last 24 hours. Camera accesses, microphone accesses, location accesses, all of them time-stamped with the name of the app that triggered each access. Spend time on this screen, scroll through the timeline carefully. You are looking for camera or microphone access events that you cannot explain. If you see your camera accessed at 2 in the morning when your phone was sitting on your nightstand and you were asleep, that is a serious red flag. If you see your microphone accessed repeatedly throughout the day by an app you have not actively used, that warrants immediate investigation. If you see an app name you do not recognize appearing in the camera or microphone access log, find that app and examine it immediately. Tap on any access event in the privacy dashboard to see more detail, which specific app triggered it, exactly when it happened, and how long the access lasted. Duration matters. A camera access that lasted 300 milliseconds might be an app briefly checking camera availability as part of its startup routine. Potentially innocent, though still worth noting. A microphone access that lasted 45 seconds while your phone was sitting idle is something else entirely. Now go deeper into the permissions system. Go back to Settings, then Privacy, then Permission Manager. This is the permission first view I mentioned in a previous video. Instead of looking at what each app can do, you are looking at what each permission is being used for. Tap on Camera. You will see a list divided into 2 sections. Apps that are allowed to access the camera all the time, or while in use, and apps that have been denied camera access. Look carefully at the allowed list. For each app listed there, ask yourself, does this app genuinely need camera access to perform the function I actually use it for? Your camera app? Yes, obviously. Your video calling app? Yes. Your banking app that allows check deposits via photo? Yes. But a flashlight app with camera access? A music streaming app with camera access? A calculator with camera access? These do not pass the logic test. Tap on any app whose camera access you cannot justify and change its permission to deny or at minimum ask every time. Do the same thing for microphone. Tap on microphone in the permission manager. Go through every app in the allowed list. Voice calling apps? Yes. Voice recorder? Yes. Navigation apps that accept voice commands? Potentially yes, though ask every time is safer. Shopping apps, games, social media platforms, utility apps. Why do they have permanent microphone access? Change anything you cannot clearly justify to either deny or ask every time. The ask every time setting is particularly useful for apps you occasionally need camera or microphone access for, but do not want to have permanent standing access. Every time that app tries to access the camera or microphone, your phone will ask you to confirm, giving you real-time visibility and control. Now, I want to show you a feature that most Android users have never used, but which directly addresses the concern of background access. Go back to your privacy settings. Look for an option called Camera Access, or on some devices this will be under a section called Privacy Controls, or inside the main privacy settings as a toggle. On Android 12 and above, there are system-level toggles that can completely disable camera access and microphone access for every app on the device simultaneously. Not just permission by permission, but a single switch that cuts off hardware access entirely. When the camera toggle is off, no app can access your camera regardless of what permissions it has been granted. When the microphone toggle is off, no app can access your microphone, period. These are nuclear options. You would not want them off permanently because they disable legitimate functionality. But here is a powerful use case for them. If you are having a private conversation, business negotiation, a personal discussion, something sensitive, and your phone is in the room, Turning off the microphone toggle takes 30 seconds and guarantees that no app on your device can capture any audio from that conversation. Not because of permissions, not because of settings, but because the hardware pipeline itself has been interrupted at the system level. Turn it back on when your conversation is done. This is one of the most genuinely useful privacy controls available on Android, and almost nobody knows it exists. Now, let me address the specific apps that have historically been associated with unexpected camera and microphone access. Not to make accusations, but to tell you what the research shows, so you can make informed decisions about your own device. Social media apps are the category most frequently flagged in privacy research for accessing device sensors beyond what is needed for their stated function. Apps in this category have been caught accessing the camera while users scroll, accessing the microphone during passive browsing sessions, and continuing to run background processes that maintain access to these sensors, even after the app has been closed. The specific apps involved have changed over the years as some have updated their behavior in response to public pressure and regulatory scrutiny, but the category remains high risk. Second are keyboard apps. Third-party keyboard apps hold a uniquely powerful position on your device because they are active every time you type anything. Some third-party keyboards have also requested microphone access for voice-to-text features, a completely legitimate function, but one that means a keyboard app has both the ability to see everything you type and the ability to capture audio. If you use a third-party keyboard app and it has microphone access, you should be confident in that app's privacy practices before continuing to use it with that permission enabled. Third are apps that have not been updated recently. An app that was last updated 2 or 3 years ago may have permissions that were granted under an older, less scrutinized policy. It may contain code that was once considered acceptable, but is now recognized as privacy invasive. It may no longer be maintained by a developer who is responsive to security concerns. Old, unmaintained apps with camera or microphone access are a genuine risk category. Go through your permission manager lists and specifically look at when each app with camera or microphone access was last updated. Any app that has not been updated in over a year and holds camera or microphone permissions deserves close scrutiny. There's one more layer to this audit that I want to walk you through. It addresses not just which apps have permissions, but what those apps do when they are not actively open. Go to Settings, then Apps. Find the app you want to examine. Start with any social media apps or other apps you found in your camera or microphone permission list that gave you pause. Tap on the app. Look for battery settings within that app's info page. You will see options related to background activity. Whether the app is allowed to run unrestricted in the background, is optimized, or is restricted. Apps set to unrestricted background activity can run continuously, even when you're not using them, maintaining access to permissions, including camera and microphone. Changing a suspicious app to restricted background activity limits its ability to run processes when you're not actively in the app. Combine this with going to Settings, then Privacy, and finding the section for permissions used in the last 24 hours, or your privacy dashboard, and checking again after you have made these changes. The difference in what you see in the access timeline before and after restricting background activity for certain apps is often striking. Let me bring this all together into a practical routine, because the green dot audit is most powerful when it becomes a habit rather than a one-time event. Every time you see the green dot appear unexpectedly, when you're not actively using camera or microphone functions, immediately open your privacy dashboard. The access will be logged there with a timestamp that matches what you just saw. Note the app name. Go to that app's permissions. Evaluate whether the access made sense. If it did not, restrict or revoke the permission immediately. Once a week, spend 3 minutes in your permission manager reviewing the camera and microphone sections. Look for any new apps that have appeared in the allowed list. New app installations sometimes grant themselves permissions during setup that you may not have consciously approved. Remove any that should not be there. And once a month, go through your full privacy dashboard history. Look at the overall pattern. Which apps are accessing your camera and microphone most frequently? Is the pattern consistent with how you actually use those apps? Patterns of access reveal intent in a way that single incidents cannot. An app that accesses your microphone once when you use it is behaving normally. An app that accesses your microphone dozens of times across days when you have not opened it is behaving in a way that demands a response. The green dot is a gift. It is your phone talking to you, giving you information that for most of Android's history was completely invisible. Every time it appears, it is an invitation to pay attention, to ask the question that the vast majority of smartphone users never ask. Not just what your phone can do, but what your phone is actually doing, right now, in this moment, when you think nothing is happening.